Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Moving the Chains. This is my second time tuning in here because I was going to start the show at 8 a.m. and I realized I could sleep in more because the games are not until the afternoon. So that's why we have a later start today. And I'm sorry to Thomas and Joe for all of us waking up earlier. And Cam. I mean, it's just not fair. But we're going to talk about the games today, welcoming everybody in. Thank you for being here. Like I said, hopefully you got to take a middle time nap because that's what I did.
Yeah.
Shoot, all right, yo. I think first things we need to do, Thomas needs to hit the sound bar. We need to celebrate.
Hercules!
That was one of the best games I've seen in a long time. Like a completely different Commanders defense. Jaden Daniels is like, I'm going to get his jersey. I love him. I feel like he's a superstar. So I want to hear how your thoughts were when you were watching that game, like in processing it all.
Well, I mean, heading into the game, like I was telling you guys before the show started, I just figured, man, hey, we made it this far. I was already conceding. We're probably going to lose this game, but man, look how far we made it. People thought we'd win 4 or 5 games. We won 12. This is a great season. And then, of course, the game started, and that's the reason we play the games, because you never know what the outcome's going to be. And then next thing you know, we just come out on fire offensively. We're moving the ball. I mean, Detroit's missing a lot of key players on defense, but again, they're the number 1 seed in the NFC for a reason. They were able to overcome these injuries. So I was very skeptical at first. Then I saw us going toe-to-toe with the big boys. They give us a shot. We give them a shot. Terry McLaurin, they call him Scary Terry for a reason, making a huge play. I mean, that was one of the most exciting halves of football I'd seen in a long, long time. So going into halftime, I was like, okay, we've got the lead, but the game's not over. And the second half is where, for me personally, my confidence started to get up a little bit more where, hey, we can really possibly do this. And then Detroit, of course, kind of got the game kind of close. Little worried there for a second, but in the end, I mean, our defense made some great plays. Dan Quinn showing Dan Campbell how you're supposed to do it when you go for it on 4th down, time and time again. Just when we needed to make a play, whether it's on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, we made it. And anytime you can get 5 turnovers from the team you're playing against, you better come with a W. Just a great game. Great game.
Yeah, I mean, when you're taking on the team that also likes to go for it on 4th down, like, you better be prepared to have them convert said 4th down. So I don't know if Cam and Thomas want to touch on it, just like your thoughts when you were watching the game. We'll go with Cam first.
Jaden Daniels is a superstar. I know a lot of people wanted to compare him to Lamar Jackson. I was like, I don't see it, but I see it like I've never seen a rookie quarterback that with that much composure, and he doesn't turn the ball over. He's smart. I think Washington has a superstar, and he's 2 playoff wins already in his rookie season. So what could you ask for?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I have to say this. Given that I am a fan of a team that's in division, I was watching that game last night and was just like, this is really happening. Ain't no way this is really happening, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like you ever see some of these games that seem like a typo almost, like somebody got the scoreboard wrong. You want them to try to fix it real fast. Like I was watching that game, I'm like, damn, 31 points in the first half. I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? I was like, okay, let's just keep watching because you never know. And then next thing you know, they score again. Then it was another turnover. Then it was another pick by Jared Goff. Then it was the end around trick play that went to absolute trash that ended up in Mike Sandstrill's hands, who, by the way, had 2 interceptions heading into this game. All season long, had 2 yesterday. It was insane. And I was just watching like, is this really about to happen? And literally I had to wait until Jared Goff threw that last interception that ultimately was just like, we have the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game.
Woo!
Like, this is insane. So I all props to the Commanders. Their turnaround is, you can make the argument, is very historic. I see a lot of people saying that Jaden Daniels is probably having the best rookie season ever, and I don't think that's even debatable.
Same.
Like he's I don't know how you have these games with so much poise and not turn the ball over. Like so many rookies, they get in this spot and it's like, you're waiting for that shoe to drop. Like you're waiting for that interception. You're waiting for that fumble. You're waiting for that, that one off moment that kind of, changes the game, if you will. And you just watch Daniels play in and play out. Nah, you know what? I know what I'm doing. 3rd and short, 4th down. Don't worry. I got it. I'll take it. Like it's, and that's the thing. Dan Quinn. I got to get the Dan's right. Dan Quinn was going for it on 4th down when it was necessary. Every single one of those 4th down conversions that they had were 4th and shorts, 4th and 3, 4th and 2, 4th and 1. And every single play call, except for one that was kind of weird with Marcus Mariota. Don't know what that was about.
That was weird.
Outside of that, like, it made sense. So, I mean, it was just a spectacular performance to see from Washington and just a fantastic year altogether. I'm proud. I'm
excited. Maybe they beat the Eagles. I don't know.
Hey, look, what Stephen A. Smith be doing when he this is me right now.
Get past the Rams first, man. One game at a time.
Look, man, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, if I saw what I saw last night, this is my face for the whole 60 minutes today. Oh no. I don't know. Do we make it out of Philly alive or what?
Well, that's a good segue for us to kick it off. The Rams take on the Eagles. The Rams have literally turned their entire season around. I don't think they had too much terrible competition in the NFC West, but they figured it out and they did it. And they smoked everybody. And now heading to Philly, facing the Eagles. Of course, we've got the Saquon Barkley headline of him taking over. And I mean, if he's able to, right? So I'm gonna ask Cam first. What are your thoughts on the Rams from the last game to this game? Like, how have you seen them improve?
I think it's all about their defense, and that defensive line is just dangerous. They bring relentless pass rush, and their corners are holding up. And when the Rams went to their Super Bowl a couple of years ago, we all know they had Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. They have so many great players on defense, but this defense as a whole has so many players that can fill their roles. Like, they're just bringing guys out there, just do your job. Let's go play a full game of 60 minutes and let's walk out with a dub. And then you got Matthew Stafford, who we all know in a regular season, he might not be the best quarterback. But when it's playoff time, Matthew Stafford, that's not any other quarterback you would rather have than Matthew Stafford. He doesn't turn the ball over. He makes good decisions. And you have Cooper Kupp out there as a decoy. Cooper Kupp's not getting 7 catches, 100 yards. You're giving that all to Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, as long as he can keep the ball back. You have Tyler Higbee back. So they have so many underrated weapons that if you let this team get a lead, they're experienced enough, and they're going to pull away at the game. Eagles got a tough road ahead of them, but the Eagles' defense is scary. I haven't seen anything like it. So if they can step up and the offense can bounce back from that weak performance last week, then it should be a no-brainer that the Eagles should advance.
Ooh, no-brainer, he says. Well, I was telling Thomas on his Off the Dome podcast that whenever A.J. Brown is in the news and he makes headlines, which he did reading his book on the sideline that sold out on Amazon, he tends to eat the following weekend. So, Thomas, throwing it to you, what do you want to see the Eagles improve on in this game?
It gets very simple for me. Jalen Hurts, can you be a proficient passer? That's literally it. That's literally it. I mean, we went throughout the entire game last week where he didn't have a completion, I think, at one point, which was kind of weird. He went on a large stretch of time where he did not have a completion. It was throwing me off. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, I think our biggest weak point out of maybe, the entire roster right now is we lost Nakobe Dean, our middle linebacker, last week. And he's not coming back. So Oren Burks, a guy who was picked on in San Francisco, is going to be starting. I'm not excited to see that. They might mess around and target him a lot in this game. But that's what I would like to see improve. I need to see Jalen Hurts be a lot more proficient with the football, a lot more accurate passes. And look, I say this all the time, but when Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown are getting the ball on a consistent basis, good things happen to the Eagles offense. Because you already have Saquon doing his thing. You already have DeVonta doing his thing. But when you have AJ and Dallas getting effective in the passing game as well, like it's a very dangerous group to deal with. But when you're literally eliminating those guys out of the offense, like that makes it prevalent for teams to be able to beat you. So that's the biggest thing I want to see improve is Jalen just getting better with throwing the football properly. I'm trying to give him grace because he just got back from concussion protocol, but like, come on, help me out here.
I was going to say the Eagles ranked 29th in passing, just so if that makes you feel better.
Jesus Christ. That's so bad, dog.
All right, Joe. I want you to say however you feel, and you could do Eagles or Rams. This is just a running game. Which running game do you think is going to take off today?
Well, I mean, if you look at past history and performances from this season, you got to say the Eagles, right? I mean, Saquon Barkley is having a record season, and the record's not over just yet because if you take a look at who's had the most rushing yards regular season and playoffs combined, he has a chance to kind of make a run at breaking that record as well. So I think for the running game, I'd say advantage Eagles, but I'd say what team needs to rely on their running game the most? I'd say it's the Rams. You want to keep that offense of the Eagles on the sidelines. You don't want them to be on the field scoring points. I think it's really important that Williams is running the ball for the Rams and holding on to the ball. Not a good moment for you to get a case of the fumbles again. I would say advantage in the running game goes to Philadelphia. Which team is more important for the running game to be successful? I'd have to say it's got to be the Rams.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, let me deal some stats here. In the last 4 games in which the Rams starters played, they only allowed an average of 8.25 points per game. That's number 1. And number 2, the last time the Rams allowed a rushing touchdown was when they faced Josh Allen in week 14. So they have now played 5 games without allowing a rushing touchdown. I know, Thomas, I'm sorry, I'm dealing you some bad numbers.
They turn things around. They turn things around in LA, and they're playing for the whole city. I mean, that's also a factor you got to include. I hate to include a tragedy like that, but you got to think the Rams are playing for something much bigger than themselves as well, and that could be motivation. But we've seen it with sports all the time where a tragedy happens or something impacts a community or a city, and that team just catches lightning in a bottle and makes a run. I mean, that could be possible with the Rams too.
Yeah. And I was just getting ready to say, like, it's crazy to say that this is the same Rams team that was 1-4 to start the season.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy when you think about that. Like, I remember, doing the rankings roundtable show and just being like, this Rams team looks off. Like, I don't know what it is. The passing game inconsistent. We wasn't sure about the defense, if they can cover anybody, they can get to the quarterback. Like, we didn't know what was going on. And there were people that were questioning Sean McVay as far as like how good of a coach that he actually was, which I thought was a bunch of nonsense, but it was whatever. They were 1-4 and they deserved it. Like, we was trying to figure out what is going on. So for them to get to this point, like, they're on fire, and they just play in a manner that is complementary football where both sides benefit. It's really incredible. The defense, if they sack a guy a couple times, like, that's enough to make it a large third down that they have to convert. It's 3 and out usually. They have to, deal with the offense moving up and down the field. Next thing you know, it's 14-7. It's 17-7. It's like, what is going on? So I think the Rams are, I mean, we just saw it last night. Like these games, they're a reason why we have to watch them play out, because if there's teams, there's offenses that can start getting the ball rolling and there ain't nothing you can do about it, yeah, it's gonna be a long night or a long afternoon, depending on when you're playing. But yeah.
All right, I want to hear, to wrap things up, your guys' player of the game to watch out. Could be offense, defense, good or bad. Just want to hear your thoughts. So I'll start off with Cam.
It got to be A.J. Brown. He's thought of as his top 5 wide receiver. Go to the offensive coordinator. Tell him, I need the ball. I want to help this team win the game. Get me at least 11 targets in this game. I know we have DeVonta Smith. I know we have Goedert. I know we have Saquon Barkley, who is the best back in the league. But you need to get me the ball in order for us to win this game. And AJ, sometimes you got to get the ball. When he's throwing the ball up to you in double coverage or it's a tight window, come down with the catch, get yak. AJ Brown has to be more aggressive. Can't go a game with only one catch, 10 yards. That's just not the type of player he is. He has to be the focal point of this game if the Eagles want to win.
I mean, they call him a superstar for a reason. So when he's shining, the Eagles are winning. All right. Joe, you can go.
Yeah, I mean, I have to piggyback off of what Thomas said off the break, and that's Jalen Hurts, man. He's done a lot to quiet haters and quiet the naysayers season after season, but this is yet another opportunity to show that you are the leader, the head dog of this team and this offense. Lead your team to the NFC Championship game. Yes, he's coming off concussion protocol. We'd only hope that he's gotten better and feels healthier as time goes by. So I think the player that's got to be the key player that's under the most pressure for me, got to be Jalen Hurts. He's got to come through today.
All right, Thomas.
You know what? I'm gonna be very blunt, because I was saying that this guy was, completely cheated on as far as the Rams offense is concerned. Cooper Kupp, man, is the guy that I'm looking for in this game. I am shaking in my boots that I don't have, because there's so many times where you watch the Rams offense and it's like you see Kyron Williams running the ball effectively. Then you see, you see the tight ends get involved, and you see Puka get involved. It's like, okay. Where's Cooper Kupp? Is he on the roster? Is he hurt? What's going on? He ends up ending these games with 1 catches, and it's like everybody's just kind of like, oh, well, it's just the way it goes. I got my eyes on you, sir, because the last thing I need to see on my screen is you look up, he has 12 targets, 7 receptions, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, and it's like, what the hell just happened? I thought Cooper Kupp wasn't a part of the offense anymore. So, yes, I'm keeping my eyes on you, Cooper Kupp, sir, because, man, they acted like you were non-existent. And I know you're capable, especially in the playoffs, to show up at any given time. So if there's ever a guy that I want to keep my eye out for, it would be Cooper Kupp, because he can raise some hell by himself. Seriously.
I'm going to go with the corners on the Eagles, Darius Slay and Cooper DeJean, which I saw Cooper DeJean in the comments, because I think this is a big time for both of them to basically stop exactly who you're talking about, Thomas, Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua. And I think the two of them have done that very successfully throughout the season with different star wide receivers. So it's a difficult task to take when you see the flags flying, but I think this is a little home field advantage for the Eagles, and that's a time that they can really capitalize on that. And if they can close down a big receiving game, like those big, we know Matthew Stafford can throw a nice bomb. This is the time for them to really shut it down. We're on the same wavelength, me and the Mask podcast.
There you go.
All right, before we roll into Cam's matchup of the day, okay? The excitement is brewing for the MVP matchup. We're going to take a quick break.
You are watching Team NBS Media. We are a digital media brand covering sports, entertainment, and lifestyle, with team members all across the country. Through our written content, podcasts, and video content, we bring you fresh and professional content. Interested in joining the team? shoot us an email or DM.
Are you looking for an energy boost during the day, but you don't like the coffee crash? Be sure to check out Clean Cause. They have delicious yerba mate teas with 150 milligrams of caffeine, but without the jitters. They also donate 50% of their net profits to help with drug and alcohol addiction. Interested in more? Click the link in our bio to get your first case. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about the MVP matchup that we are all anticipating. I mean, I think this is like the game of the week. We've got Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, of course, playing phenomenal football head to head. One determines who takes on, of course, the Chiefs' 7th time in the AFC Championship matchup. And I'm just going to kick it off to Cam first. Just as a straightforward thought, what is something that you're loving from the Ravens right now?
I'm loving John Harbaugh and his game plan. Over the past couple years, the main problem with the Ravens coming into the playoffs, we've always said, why does Lamar Jackson run less? Why does he pass more? Why do they abandon from the run game? Why are you this great rushing team in the regular season, but when you get to the playoffs, you try to be cute and try to be fancy? Harbaugh threw all of it out the window. First drive against the Steelers last week, the Ravens threw one pass, rushed 11 straight times, and they ended up scoring. They were feeding Derrick Henry. They were using Lamar Jackson legs, and I think that's something that they have to keep doing. John Harbaugh is going to go into this game. I was looking at the weather. I think it's projected to be well under 11 degrees, so it's going to feel like in the negatives. To the players, it's going to feel like to the negatives. Should be a little snow flurries. The ground's going to be hard. Might be a little slippery, but you have Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. I think the most dangerous quarterback running back deal we've ever seen in the NFL. So Harbaugh has to at least get Henry for 30 carries or more. Like, Derrick Henry has to be a monster this game. You feed on him. You make that Buffalo defense tired. That's the best game plan for them. You don't want to get into a passing attack with Josh Allen, because once Josh Allen heats up, and knowing that Ravens secondary is still weak, it's nothing that's going to be able to stop him.
I do think the Ravens secondary has turned things around. We all know that was a major talking point, was the lack of. So I want to hear, Joe, what do you think are one of the problems that the Ravens have?
Well, I think that one of the problems they're going to have is they're going to have a consistent pass rush against Josh Allen, but you also got to be disciplined in that. When you give him rushing lanes, he's shown time and time again, if he sees the opportunity to run, he's going to take that opportunity. And also, too, he wears you down, too. Yeah, he's not the same exact size as Derrick Henry, but he's not exactly some skinny quarterback either. I mean, nobody wants to tackle him in the cold with the hard frozen ground 10, 15, 20 times. So I think if you're that front four, the linebackers and secondary from Baltimore, when we're rushing the passer, we got to have some discipline there so that we're not giving Josh Allen wide open running lanes to gash us for first downs. So I think for the Ravens defense, pass rush being disciplined, super, super big key. And you got to have a pass rush. Make him uncomfortable, get him off the spot. We can't have him back there taking 15, 20 seconds to throw the ball, because we'll have the ability to create a pass rush.
All right, who do you think gets sacked more, Lamar or Josh Allen?
Ooh. I'm going to go Lamar because he'll hold on to the ball to the last second to see if there's any kind of possible play downfield.
Everyone agrees?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about an O-line that's only given up 14 sacks this year. Like, if this was like a turnstile offensive line, like, I would immediately say is Josh Allen, because we've been used to seeing his offensive lines do that to him over the years. But you've allowed 14 sacks against some very good defenses, might I add, throughout the entire season. Please. And then, of course, like and I love Baltimore's offense, I do. But there are certain plays where Lamar is still trying to decide where he wants to go with the ball sometimes. And because of that, it leads to a little like confusion on, okay, he's supposed to get it off in 0.5 seconds. Now he's taking a minute. Like, what's going on here? So, you're just leaving the lineman out for a loop at the time, because he's going to scramble, he's going to move around, but at what cost? So, I mean, I think if they're not careful, like, Lamar could be getting used to the grass and what it smells like and what it tastes like and the color of it. if not being careful. So, yeah, man, I mean it.
I want to hear your guys' thoughts when it comes to the MVP discussion. I know that playoffs are not added to the regular season decisions, but I just want to hear everyone can roam free with this answer and just let me know who do you think and why is like your idea of winning. Let's kick it off with Thomas. I'll run it back.
Oh boy. You know, I talked about this with you, Ashmere, on the Off the Dome podcast about the MVP conversation. I feel like the NBA kind of ruined the conversation when it comes to the MVP because, you know, there's been so many years where in the NFL, it went to the best player on the best team who had the best stats. And it's like, as of late, like, we're starting to have fatigue with certain players. Mahomes, Lamar now. So by that alone, like, I would love to think that Josh Allen would win the MVP. Problem is that I feel like this is one of those few occasions where you do have to count how this playoff game goes. Because if Lamar ends up putting on a show, then it's like, guys, what are we doing here? Give the MVP to him again. But if Josh Allen is doing the unthinkable, which he's been doing all year, by the way, because we didn't think, given with him losing Stephon Diggs in the offseason, and, you know, you can make the argument that if you're not, you know, well-versed with Buffalo Bills in their roster, there's not a lot of people that can tell you who's playing receiver for you outside of Amari Cooper. So, like, he's been playing the Superman cape all year, which is great. If he shows that again today, that should be enough for him to win it. I really do feel like this is one of the rare occasions, because of the fact that they're playing against each other, where the performance in this game determines who wins it. And I think that's fair.
Okay. All right. What about you, Cam?
Yeah, I actually like what Thomas said. This game should be in a part of the MVP conversation. Whoever wins this game, whoever has the big performance should win the MVP. We all know what Josh Allen has done this year. And the good thing about Josh Allen is he has not turned the ball over at all this season. And that's been the negative aspect of his career, his whole time in NFL. Everyone's been like, Josh Allen will never be that top quarterback because he turns the ball over, and you put the ball in his hand, he's going to give it to the other team. He's changed that. And then Lamar, we've always talked about, will he develop as an elite passer? He has legs, but when teams force him to pass, he won't be that good. Well, he broke so many passing records this year, did it without using his legs. Yeah, he had Derrick Henry, but you can't take that in consideration because Josh Allen has James Cook. The Ravens have Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, and all these weapons. So like Thomas said, I think this will be the rare occasion in which quarterback has the big game. I would still probably lean to Josh Allen because voter fatigue is real. Mm-hmm. They don't want to give Lamar Jackson this award again. They want to give it to Josh Allen. Like let's just be honest. They want to give it to Josh Allen. They don't want Lamar to win it again because it's going to be like, oh, now our superstar, our Prince, Pat Mahomes, we have to put somebody else up in that ranking. They want to give it to Josh Allen because Josh Allen really doesn't have any accolades but going to the AFC Championship. So they want to give it to a different guy. But if Lamar performs, throws for like 4 or 5 passing touchdowns, I just don't see how he loses this game. And then Vegas has him at minus 300 odds. Like, the last time I checked was last week to win the MVP. Josh Allen was plus 300 a couple weeks ago, so it's up in the air.
Insane. And how does 34 touchdowns and 3 picks sound? And by the way, those 3 picks, it really should be 1 because one of them was like ripped away from the receiver and the other one was tipped. So
and the other one was he ran the wrong route.
Yeah.
And the other one ran the wrong route. So when you put that all in context, the guy finished the season with literally 0, I repeat, 0 interceptions on the season with 34 touchdowns. Like, What the hell? Like, all those conversations about him not being able to throw the football, shut up. It's dead. Let it go.
Yeah.
It's gone. Forget about it.
All right, Joe, you're wrapping it up.
No, I mean, for me, it's been easy for a couple of weeks now. I think it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, I definitely agree with Cam. He's 100% right about the voter fatigue. There's probably some people that got the voting sheets in front of them. They're like, really? This guy again? And I wonder if some people who are thinking should reward him for an MVP, looking at his past playoff failures, even though it's a regular season award, are some people going to say, I'm not going to vote for him because every time he gets in the playoffs, he doesn't perform. I think it's Lamar Jackson. I think that everything he's asked for and wanted, the Ravens have done. We talked about having a bad offensive line. They invested in the offensive line. He doesn't have a lot of weapons. They tried Odell Beckham Jr. They tried Johnson from the Steelers. They brought in different receivers to try to give him help. Now they finally found a combination of receivers, Zay Flowers and company, that are actually really solid weapons that can help him. And I think that this is a well-deserving award for Lamar Jackson. Great season from Josh Allen for sure, but I think it's Lamar Jackson again for a third time.
You know, I feel like there's a lot of similarities in these two quarterbacks and in the seasons that they've had. They haven't had many offensive weapons. And I feel like that is the tale as old as time for Lamar Jackson. He's just figuring it out, game in and game out. And like, thank God they got Derrick Henry this year, because otherwise it would be like Lamar just trying to figure it out. And the same is true for Josh Allen, losing Diggs and then just having to just manage this offense in a different way, get any receiver you can. Like, it feels like every week we've got both teams scoring from people we like haven't heard of. They go ghost for a week or two, right? And then they come out of the woodwork. So on the Off the Dome podcast, I did agree with Thomas and say like the MVP conversation to me is, it's like, it needs to be adjusted, because I think Saquon Barkley is very high in that conversation, same as Joe Burrow, right? Like, Saquon for his career completely transformed in this Eagles offense and proved that, like, with good coaching and with a good line, and you are still that dominant player. Same with Derrick Henry. He came to an entirely different team and continued to prove that he is that guy. And then Joe Burrow had nothing. He was just lighting it up game in and game out against these teams that had stellar defenses, and still showing that, like, he has this flash of, like, QB knowledge that gets him to the next level and maybe ties the game, maybe wins the game, takes them to overtime, right? He's always in a competitive form. So I definitely think when it comes to the Allen Lamar conversation, I personally believe that Josh Allen is going to win. And it's not because of voter fatigue. I just think it's the comparison, and it's like so slim. Like, it's like a quarter of a difference of like what Josh Allen has done in the entirety of the season and in today's matchup, like both of you guys said. It's just like a quarter different in the sense of the QB style. And I'm not even equating the rushing game in that. I think it's just like the way that he's utilized and changed since the beginning of his career to now. And I feel like that's what's going to lead voters to kind of skew towards Josh Allen. But like I said, I feel like it's going to be like a 1 vote difference. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way. Like, it's a close race, and today's game is just going to really help determine where they think everybody's going to land. So wrapping things up here, I think we both touched on how these defenses are, you know, they can show up and they don't tend to show up. Who do you think has the stronger defense here? And then we'll close with the same question of the player to watch. So I'll start with Thomas. Who do you think has the stronger defense in this matchup?
Wow. Obviously, the Ravens defense has played a lot better since the last time that they've met. However, the last time that they met, the Bills were missing 3 key defensive starters on their team. Matt Milano didn't play in that game. Terrell Bernard didn't play in that game. And Teron Johnson didn't play in that game. So it's kind of a toss-up, because both defenses have been prone to struggle. Mm-hmm. I've just seen a Bills defense that has a tendency to give up a lot of points. I see a Baltimore defense who has a corner, and I was just talking to my my co-host on my other podcast about it literally this morning. Brandon Stevens. Yeah, Cam's shaking his head in the background because he know I'm going with this. Brandon Stevens That boy right there, if Josh Allen sees him, it's going to be like he is seeing a bunch of gold, and he's going to pick him apart. That is the one, like, mole in the camp that is going to ruin it for Baltimore. But if I had to choose out of the two, I would probably lean more towards Baltimore, given that they played better as the season has progressed.
Okay. All right. Cam, go ahead. Follow up.
I think if you look on paper, obviously, like, the Ravens have the all pros and the talent, but the Bills' defense have gotten way better. They've gotten healthy. The pass rush is there. Von Miller is alive. Von Miller scares me to death in this match because the Ravens don't have any offensive lineman that's going to limit Von Miller. They're going to have to do motions. You don't have Zay Flowers, so that's going to limit what you can do in the passing game. And the Bills' defensive front, they're good at the run. They're going to stuff the run. They're going to force Lamar Jackson to throw the ball over 25 times in this game. I still would lean more to the Ravens. I just think they have more athletic guys. I think Kyle Hamilton plays a big part in that matchup. The thing about Brandon Stevens is it's just like I don't know. They've tried to put him in so many different positions. They've even moved him from corner to safety. And so, like, Kyle Hamilton, I need you to focus on the offense, but also make sure Brandon Stevens is in the right spot. Basically like his little brother, and Stevens still ends up messing up. So I think Josh Allen is going to expose Brandon Stevens today. They're obviously going to target him earlier. That's the only bad part about the Ravens. I don't think the Ravens pass rush is that good. Definitely not as good as the Bills. If they can't bring pass rush, like Joe said, Josh Allen's going to feast all day.
All right, Joe.
I think when it comes to the Ravens defense, I mean, it starts with the quarterback, Kyle Hamilton. I mean, this is a guy that, like Cam just said, they expect so much of him. He is supposed to excel at pass coverage. He's a guy who's not afraid to come pop you in the mouth in the run game. I think they're going to expect him to make up for a lot of shortcomings of other players. He's been kind of banged up throughout the season, but this is the guy that was drafted high for a reason, and I think he is definitely an X factor for the Ravens defense. I like the Tens. I think the Ravens defense is a little bit better than Baltimore's defense. Somebody told me which one's better, but I definitely agree that when it comes to, if you start going from pass rush to pass rush, I would give Baltimore the edge. But I think Baltimore's linebackers can hold up. I think that Baltimore's secondary is night and day compared to where it was at the beginning of the season. And then the X factor, of course, for the Ravens defense is going to be Hamilton. If he's hurt or can't be his top optimal self, it could be a long day for Baltimore.
Yeah. I don't mean to give Brandon Stevens a lot of I don't mean it.
Hey,
but
no, he deserves it. He needs to hear it.
But
he needs it.
like I was watching some of these games, man, where it's like, wait a second. They're starting to pick on somebody. Who is it? You keep thinking like it's Marlon Humphrey or it's Marcus Williams or nah, it's the same guy, 21. Brandon Stevens, he's over there, get him. He's over there, get him. Like it's like night and day, and it just throws me off. That's like the biggest component about this whole defense, because like Cam said, when you have a guy like Kyle Hamilton who is very dynamic, but yet at the same time has to play chaperone with a corner that literally, like, you know how everybody has these chess pieces like Kyle Hamilton where you could put him at corner if you have to, you can put him in the slot corner, or you could put him at safety and have him freelance and do stuff like that. They have Brandon Stevens to be a chess piece for the opposite reason. It's like, we're literally trying to shield you so that way you're not exposed. So we're going to have you on this guy, and then we're going to have you over here, and then we're going to have you over there. We're trying to not get you exposed, and it may still happen anyway. So, I mean, I just had to put that out there. Like, Brandon Stevens, he is going to be targeted quite a bit in this game. And if he can't hold up, watch out.
You never know, too. He might be ready for the moment. Watching film this whole week. It's the playoffs. All eyes on me. Chance to go to the AFC Championship game. He might surprise some folks. I mean, he's playing in the National Football League for a reason. You know what I mean? Right. Not that you were calling him a scrub or anything like that. You definitely weren't. No. But I'm saying, at some point, you got to show your worth. Maybe today's his day.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like,
I
better be
ain't
right.
gonna trash him.
Better be right.
Memes
I ain't gonna
loaded.
trash
Maybe
him,
some-
but
maybe the memes are loaded.
oh my god.
All right. Let's my player is James Cook. I think he's just elite. And even though he doesn't have as many rushing yards as the other top running backs, he figures out a way to get in that end zone. You know, if they're within 6 yards, he's rushing in. He's got this in the bag. And I think he's going to be a huge asset in this game. I mean, last time we saw the Bills play in the snow, they were cooking the Niners, absolutely frying them on one of the coldest conditions. And I think the running game was huge in that. So I think James Cook is going to be very successful against a weaker Ravens defense. So that's just my prediction. All right, let's go through our picks for the game. So Rams and Eagles. Obviously, Thomas, we know your answer.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's slim pickings.
Philly? Like like that's where I'm at right now. Like, I after what I saw last night, bro, I can't rule anything out. I really can't. That's where I'm at right now. I just can't rule it out. I can't go against my home team.
Tim and Joe, who do you guys pick?
I'll go Philadelphia. I'll go Eagles. And I'll go Eagles versus Commanders another round. I'd love to see it. But I won't be surprised if the Rams win, like Thomas just said, because we've seen so much. I mean, Viking fans are probably still in the dark corner somewhere.
Oh, sure.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, I'll go Eagles too. I just think it's every time we tell Jalen Hurts to bounce back, he bounces back. So he's got the competitiveness. AJ Brown's bounced back, and you have Saquon Barkley, so that's all you need.
Yeah, I think we're all going Eagles here, but I feel like it's a slim game. Like, it's going to be down to the wire. Everyone's going to be texting Thomas if his heart is having a panic attack, you know, see how he's feeling. All right, and then the Baltimore and Bills game. I'm very curious to hear everybody's picks.
I got the Ravens on the last second field goal by Justin Tucker.
That's who you want to rely on?
I know.
Hey.
Best of all time.
He did it before. He can do it again.
He ain't lying. I go Ravens too. I'm going to go Baltimore as well. I think this is a huge game for Lamar Jackson. Get the monkey off your back, cement the MVP, all that good stuff, and then you face your boy.
Yeah. I'm rooting for it because I would love to see the potential Super Bowl matchup of, just any one of the four teams. Give me Baltimore. This is again like right here because Buffalo is at home, guys. Like let's not forget. And it's freezing cold temperatures, like Cam said earlier.
It's cold in Baltimore.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, would you rather have Baltimore cold or
Buffalo's
Buffalo
different
cold?
Buffalo's a different cold.
Yeah,
That's
true.
You know what I'm saying? Like when it feels like it's like single digits out there, like it's like, I don't know if I want to do this for a full 60 minutes. That's why I consider it to be so close. But I mean, I just think given the weather that's involved, you're gonna have a hard time stopping Derrick Henry. I just, I mean, I'm not thinking he's going to have what he had back in week 5, I believe it was when they played, where he had like 200 yards from scrimmage or something like that and 3 touchdowns. I don't think that's happening again, but I mean, they're undefeated when he gets over 90 yards. So just putting that out there.
Okay, I'm going to pick the Bills, and I'm clearly lone wolfing in that.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be like a field goal type of thing. But I just think Josh Allen, ever since he got engaged, he's a completely different football player. And everybody makes a joke about it. And I feel like he's riding on that high. He's going to look up to Haley in the stands. Like,
I was prepared for all the angles possible. I was
I know.
prepared
I
the defense was
expected
going
a
to
love
take a
story.
massive leap. Like Amari Cooper was going to have 100 yards or something like that. Nah, the culprit is this man recently got engaged and he has lost it ever since. Oh my word!
She went with the
was not
Hallmark
angle.
I was not expecting the Hallmark Channel angle at all.
I know.
Not
You gotta
at
put
all.
love in the mix sometimes, okay?
Not at all, man.
I ain't mad at it.
I mean, that's not a bad angle though. He hasn't.
But I did pick
Hasn't
Josh
played
Allen
bad.
as my MVP, so I'm clearly on a train here.
Okay, I can respect that. I can appreciate that. Stay on the same wavelength. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
But I mean, I won't be mad if the Baltimore wins, right? Like, I'd want any team that can beat the Chiefs. If you're watching this for the 50th time, I'm just here for seeing the Chiefs go down, game in
Beat the
and game
Chiefs
out.
and the refs. And the
Whoever
refs.
wins this game needs to run it back and do the same thing in Kansas City next week. So,
Don't y'all think though that you know how there's like fights in boxing or just in different sports where the matchup previous, because of how brutal and how physical it was, they may not be the same by default by the time they get to the next round.
Yeah.
It's almost like no matter who wins, it's like, are they going to be the same? Because that was a physical warfare they just got out of. That's kind of my mindset as well with this game. Like, as much as everybody loves to say, you know, Kansas City, we got to get Kansas City off that hill. Like, they are waiting with a lot of guys who are healthy. And this game is going to get physical. And it's going to get physical for a large portion of this game.
yeah, for sure.
So it's like, whoever gets it out, like, you're not going to get away scot-free here. I guess that's what I'm taking away from it, too.
I can get down with that.
Wait, Cam was saying something.
Oh, no. I wasn't saying that.
Oh, okay. I was like, let me hear it. No, that's a really good point. I think that's a great point. Especially because seeing the Commanders that was a completely different defense. I didn't know who that team was, honestly. And Jared Goff is going to see those tackles day in and day out and the interceptions he threw, like, what was going on? So I think that when you're fighting to get to the AFC matchup, you just got to go through each other. That was a good point, Thomas.
It's going to be
see
brutal.
battle wounds coming out.
Yeah, like
sure.
you're not getting away scot-free, especially with it being cold in that game too. Like, I can see a lot of guys when it's all said and done being on some sort of injury report throughout the week, like some minor stuff like that. You don't wish this stuff, obviously, but given how physical this game will be when it's all said and done, it's going to be hard to deal with going forward. And Kansas City used to the cold, so this is like second nature to them. And plus, they got the refs and all that good fun stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I had to drop this in real quick.
Look, I tell people all the time, though. I've been telling people the last 2 years, y'all need to get used to it. Y'all really do. Y'all want to beat Kansas City? Here's how y'all beat Kansas City.
The glass is coming off.
Don't make mistakes. Seriously, I know that's easier said than done, but you already know going in that you're going to have to deal with some things that's not going to go your way. Half the time, some of these teams are going on the road to Kansas City. So you know that there's going to be an uphill battle by default. Guys, don't shoot yourself in the foot. If you're going to like have something weird happen, like a tipped interception or like a fumble that goes out of bounds and ends up being their ball, something like that, like, let that be a fluky moment that you have to deal with and live with. But if you're throwing interceptions or you are having to deal with fumbles or you're missing field goals or you are making these minor mistakes, penalties, like, you don't stand a chance. Because you want to know what Kansas City does well more than anybody? They don't make mistakes. They don't make mistakes. And they take advantage of every single thing that you don't do. You don't score on your drive, they will put up some sort of points. It may not be a touchdown, but it will be a field goal. It will be something. They will take advantage. So just don't make mistakes. I know that's easier said than done, but if you want to have a chance at beating Kansas City, especially in Kansas City, that's what you're going to have to do. That's what you're going to have to do. I'm sorry.
You don't need to be sorry. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
I mean, literally, Like I've seen this for most of my lifetime with New England. Like this shouldn't be anything new. It shouldn't be anything new. Just find a way to be disciplined on both sides of the ball. You have a chance. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know what to tell you.
There's no find a way. It's like Travis Kelce all of a sudden had the best game he's had all season, right? Like
you know that's coming. You know that's coming. You got to prepare for that.
That's the power of Tay-Tay. Once you saw her walk in the stadium, it was a career.
Same storyline, love story, baby.
Guys, please. Oh man, Taylor Swift and the Haley.
Seinfeld.
Caitlin Clark was at the game yesterday for the Chiefs.
I know.
Here you go.
It's a wrap.
I saw some people talk about that too. The star power is real.
I saw that. I knew it was a wrap for the Texans.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I mean, that's what you have to deal with when you're going against Kansas City. I'm sorry. This is New England 2.0. And if you haven't learned from New England, you're going to always find yourself losing to them. So
I don't know. I stand by what I said. I think Tom Brady was getting beat up back in the day. Like he was still getting attacked. Yeah, he was getting flags too, but like that guy's getting like any touch on Patrick, you're like, ah.
Yeah,
there's a flag being thrown. I mean, the parody videos they feel very realistic. Like we're all watching the same football.
Yeah, and I appreciate guys like Troy Aikman. Yeah, like when you see Aikman like commentating during the game and he's sharing the same sentiment that the viewer is having, like that's how you know it's a problem. Because I mean, we all know how spoken Troy Aikman is, but he's like, guys. Like, come on here. You got to do something about this. Like, this is outrageous. So, I mean, I can appreciate that. But, again, this is what you're going to have to do. If you want to have a shot, that's what you have to do.
Okay, we're going to close up because I want everybody to get their grub on 30 minutes before kickoff, and I'm talking about myself. So, thank you, everyone, for joining. I love hearing everyone's perspectives. Like I told Thomas on Off the Dome, I learn from everybody all the time when they come on the show. So appreciate everyone for tuning in, and Joe, Cam, and Thomas for being here. Good luck. Enjoy your Sunday. And we will be back, of course, next week to talk about the divisional games, the final AFC, NFC game. So see you then. Have a great day, and be sure to like, subscribe, follow Team NBS Media everywhere you find us. TikTok is back. Yay.